Hey friends, this is the Miss Volfie from Our Half Acre Homestead. Well, tomorrow's Papa's birthday and he's requested lasagna, as usual. But today, we're going to make several of them so that we can put some in the freezer for later on. What we're going to need for this is, of course, the pan for Papa's birthday lasagna. But I also have 3 large foil pans. And I'm going to be lining them with parchment paper because I'm using spaghetti sauce. It has a tomato base. I just don't trust the acid factor of the foil with tomato sauce. So I'm just going to line these with parchment paper just to be on the safe side. I got a great deal on these tubs of ricotta cheese. They were 99 cents. So I have 3 of those. I have some cottage cheese. I have some mozzarella and some marble. Of course, baby spinach, Parmesan cheese, spaghetti sauce, some eggs, and some home canned ground meat. I also have garlic powder and onion flakes. And I could easily make my own noodles. They're much healthier for you than the dry store-bought, which you have to go through the process of cooking first, but these were on sale. Olivieri natural pasta, and these are sheets. These are called lasagna sheets. They were on sale, and these have everything that you would make noodles with at a home: durum wheat, semolina, water, liquid whole egg, and liquid egg yolk. So I mean, that's pretty much what I make my noodles out of. So I'm not going to go through, this is about keeping it simple, making a lot of food for the freezer all at once and keeping it simple with the wholest ingredients possible. Okay, I've grated my mozzarella and I think I may have enough, so I'm not going to grate the marble unless I have to. And we're going to open our meat. Now apparently I opened my last weck jar wrong. You're supposed to pull. Oh, that did work. You just pull on that and the tab and it comes loose. Awesome. And I've washed and drained my spinach. Always, always wash your produce, folks. Okay. Now, all I did was put a piece of parchment in each foil pan. So let's start with some sauce in the bottom of this pan. A little bit of meat. And an oven-ready noodle. I'm just going to measure this, and we're going to cut a piece off and set it aside for another one. And look at that. Isn't that lovely? And I'm going to repeat with the other 3 pans. Okay, when I have all these pans with this layer done, we'll be back. Okay, now that our first layer is done, we're going to get on to our ricotta and cottage cheese layer. Now I've actually never used ricotta. I've always used just cottage cheese, but that's okay. This was on sale and it's very similar, so let's just get her done. Okay, so in this layer we're going to do our onion flakes, a couple of tablespoons. Remember, I'm doing 4 of these, folks, so some garlic powder, again about a tablespoon, and some Parmesan cheese, which I actually meant to put in the meat layer, but that's okay. So let's take our whisk and just kind of break this up a little bit. Now I'm going to take a couple of eggs, because this is actually a lot thicker than cottage cheese. I'm only going to use 2 eggs. If this was cottage cheese, which I had out just in case, I would use 4 eggs because it's much, much creamier. But this looks like it is going to be just fine. I always add eggs to give that layer a firmness when it cooks up. Now things are going to get busy because I can't stack these anymore. So I have to lay them out. And we're just going to kind of divide this between all 4 pans. And we're going to be putting a layer of spinach in here. Good, healthy spinach in here. Can't hurt to have too much spinach. Because you know what? The vegetables are going to give off water. And although these noodles are oven ready, and they're not dry, they're a stiff dough, they're still going to need extra moisture to cook. So extra vegetables isn't going to hurt. So this part of the pan's a little bit bigger. I very easily could have made these myself with my hand crank noodle maker and just did sheets. But I'm working in bulk today. So I really want to always keep a good pair of kitchen scissors that you can throw in your dishwasher at any time. Okay, now we are going to do our layer of mozzarella. And like I said, if I don't have enough, then I will grate up the marble cheese for the topping. You can never have too many kinds of cheese in your lasagna. At this point we have 3. Okay, I've gone ahead and grated up my marble cheese. Marble is very, very similar to mozzarella. It's a combination of mild cheddar and mozzarella, so it will do the job. Besides, Papa loves 4 cheese lasagna. Now, I've gone ahead and added an ingredient because I just happened to look over to the counter and see my jar of dehydrated zucchini. Don't tell Papa, but we're going to put a layer in there.
I heard that.
Uh-oh, he heard that. No, you didn't! Anyway, this again, the juices of the cheese and the spinach will help rehydrate this. And it's an added vegetable, and I really honestly don't think anyone will notice. Okay, we're ready for our final layer. There's our zucchini, and I added some onion flakes. And I was right. I only used 2 and a bit of these packages, so I'm going to put this in a bag in the freezer for another day. Oops, I forgot the camera wasn't rolling. So now I'm just going to put a final dollop of sauce on the top of each lasagna. And I'm going to break this down for you folks and let you know exactly how much I paid for the ingredients here. Now, we've all bought those frozen lasagnas in the freezer section, and we all know they're not that great. You know, there isn't a whole lot of cheese in them. They're basically noodles layered with sauce with a bit of Parmesan sprinkled on top. This is a 5 cheese. Yes, 5 cheese, because I grated some sharp cheddar to go with the marble. This is a 5 cheese, 2 vegetable, fresh pasta lasagna. One of these in the grocery store, this size of the regular kind that you would just buy in the freezer section, would probably cost about $6.99. So I'm going to let you know how much each one of these cost. And even if it comes out the same, we still know it's a better quality product. I'm going to put a little bit of Parmesan. Why? Because, well, Parmesan has a tendency to be dry, and we want the other cheese to melt over top. Now, don't worry if it doesn't go all the way to the edges, folks. It will spread in the cooking. And we don't have to cook these. Well, we have to cook them before we eat them. But because the pasta is fresh, and because the meat is already cooked, these can be wrapped and put in the freezer as is so that they can be baked fresh. Okay, I put Papa's dinner or birthday dinner in the fridge for tomorrow, and I've wrapped up the other ones, and I want to show you how I wrap them for the freezer. I've got here 2 long lengths of tin foil, and we're going to set our lasagna on there. Now, do you remember those pieces of parchment that were in between the noodles? Yes, folks, they're reusable even after this. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay the pieces of parchment over top like this. Now I'm going to take my first piece of tin foil and I'm just going to wrap it over top. A lot of people worried about using tin foil. I don't worry about it all that much, but when it comes to a high acid dish, like something with tomato sauce, and especially if it's going to be in the freezer, I do want to put something between the high acid food and the tin foil. Okay, now we're just going to turn it around the other way. Normally I use the longer or wider tin foil, but I bought this one by mistake, so that's what we're using. And then we just fold this down. Like that. And bring the underside up. It is perfectly ready for the freezer. And when the time comes to cook it, you just take it out of the freezer and let it thaw on the countertop for a couple of hours. Unwrap it. Take off the parchment off the top, tent one piece of foil over top, and bake at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. This is 5 cheese lasagna. We have 4 of them. We have ricotta, mozzarella, marble, parmesan, and sharp cheddar. We have 2 kinds of vegetables, spinach and zucchini. We have fresh pasta. It doesn't really get any better than that. And each lasagna, I broke it down, each lasagna cost me $6.25. You are not going to get a 5 cheese, 2 vegetable lasagna of this quality for under $10 or $15 at the store, okay? This is the Mrs. Volfie from Our Half Acre Homestead saying, if you got to make a lasagna, make 4 and freeze 3. Then you don't have to cook another night. Take care. Bye-bye.